This is the new Skoda Kamiq. It gets its name from the Inuit word meaning second skin. And I think where Skoda are going with this is second skin is quite comfortable. It fits like a second skin. And I think this car is extremely comfortable and it fits in with your daily life. That's my personal opinion of it. I'm sure Skoda might have a completely different take on it, but that's what I think. So it was launched back in 2019, would you believe? In June 2019, just after the Geneva Motor Show. Now, if you'd like to have a look at our review of the Geneva Motor Show, then click up there now, because that was a great bit of fun doing that. Ever since it's been launched, its popularity has grown and grown and grown. It's one of 3 SUVs that Skoda produce. It's the smallest one of the 3. Skoda themselves started back in 1895, would you believe? Been going a long, long time. A couple of friends who got together, they were making bicycles and repairing bicycles. And in 1925, they were approached by another company called Skoda Works. And they bought the company off these guys. They were a munitions company at the time. They were manufacturing munitions. But they wanted to get into cars and motorbikes and saw this as a way of getting involved because they had all the materials and they had the background for doing this. So it became the Skoda Works company. In 1991, VW got involved. Now, whether VW saw an opening or something in the future, because at the time the Skoda Works company wasn't doing very well at all. They were producing cars with a pretty bad name, to be honest with you. I remember those days, they were terrible. But those days have long gone, because in 2000 VW ended up buying out the whole company. And you probably see a lot of similarities in today's modern Skoda, comparing it to the Volkswagens and the Audis and cars like that. So there you go, there's a nice bit of background on where the name comes from, in my opinion, don't forget, and also the actual history of the Skoda company. Let's take a look around this little car, see what we think of it, and give you our review of the new Skoda Kamiq. Right, let's check out what the engine and gearbox configurations are. The bonnet release is down here in the passenger footwell. Don't forget, if you're in a left-hand drive car, it's going to be in the same place, but it'll be in the driver's side. There you go. They're not going to swap it around, are they? The actual bonnet release catches right here under that lovely Skoda emblem. Lift that up like that. It is rather heavy. It's going to give you a bit of a workout. And you're not expecting gas struts with this, are you? No, good. Please don't. Put your stay in there just for safety's sake. You have a couple of different choices on the engines. This is the 1 litre 3-cylinder version. It comes in either 95 brake horsepower or 115 brake horsepower. If you want a little bit more power, you can go for a 4-cylinder 1.5 litre engine, and that develops around 150 brake horsepower. There are no longer any diesels made. They were phased out in 2020, so they're your engine choices. A couple of gearbox choices. You go 6-speed manual, or there is a really good 7-speed auto. There you go. The Kamiq is available in 5 different trim levels. Your entry level is the S, and it starts at just over 19,000 UK pounds. You then got the SE, and you've got the SE Drive, and you're going to be adding around about 1,000 UK pounds to each of the prices of those. Then you jump up to the SEL, which is 23,500 UK pounds. And if you want to go for the top of the range, which is very sporty and luxurious, that's the Monte Carlo. And that will start from around 24,200 UK pounds. With the Skoda Kamiq, you get a couple of novel little bits and pieces, and one of them is hidden inside here in the filler cap. This, very neatly tucked away, is a little ice scraper. And you know exactly where it is, so you keep it there, and during the winter, if you need to clean the windows, you know where it is. Perfect. Novel little bits like that. Another thing is, all the Kamiqs come with these lovely roof rails. Not only do they make it look nice, but I think they're almost in preparation of you buying a roof rack if you need to. So you haven't got to spend out extra money there. This particular car comes with colour-coded door handles and colour-coded mirrors, and it also has foldy innie mirrors, which when you push the key will fold back in. I think that's nice and safe as well. On the entry-level car, you get 16-inch alloys. This is the SE, so you get 17-inch alloys. And I love the design on these as well. I think the whole car itself is really nice looking. It's got some great lines. And the actual quality of the build, you can see where the seams meet, is excellent. The lights are all standard LED, and that's throughout the whole range, front and rear, and you get LED running lights. However, if you want a metallic paint colour like this particular blue, you will have to pay an extra £590. One thing that's really surprised me about the Kamiq is the power of this little car, because for a 1 litre engine, which is what this one has, I wasn't expecting anything, you know, not that much. Okay, Skoda say just over 10 seconds 0 to 60. It's not going to light any fireworks, this car. And the top speed's around about 120 miles an hour, which isn't too bad. Remember, this is a little family SUV. However, driving it feels so much faster, and I have no idea why. It just does. It's really responsive, and especially with this 6-speed manual gearbox, which we didn't have the other week. We had the Scala on test, the Skoda Scala last week, and we had the 7-speed auto gearbox, and I really thought that was fantastic. But I'm loving this 6-speed manual gearbox. It does feel as if this car is a lot faster than what it should be. It's a great car to drive. It's a typical family car. The suspension's nice and soft. It bounces around a little bit. Brakes are excellent. I've got to say, the brake, you have to almost be a little bit careful. You have to get used to the brakes. They're quite fierce on occasion. So if you do tend to hit them hard, you know, it does sort of stop very, very quickly. I'll give it that. Economy-wise, well, Skoda say we should be between 44 and 54 to the gallon. I'm currently getting just over 39 to the gallon, and that's around town. We'll call this around town. So out on the run, it's definitely going to be late 40s. So it's going to be well within that, you know, 10% mark that they actually say it's going to be. All in all, it's a super quiet car. It's super comfortable. I don't think you can really go wrong. So around at the back of the Kamiq, I think it's rather sporty looking. It's got some really nice lines going on. And one thing I do really like is this rear screen. And it's what I call a floaty screen, because there's no rubbers, and it gives that extra sort of pin sharp line in there. And also it means that the water doesn't get trapped in there and start rusting the lovely metalwork, the paintwork. There you go. Up the top here, DAB radio aerial. And then you've got a bit of aero going on here, both at the side and at the top. There's a stoplight built into that bit there. With the aero, it comes right round the side here, and I think a lot of that would make it very drag coefficient on this car, which increases your MPG, of course, which this car does very well indeed. Not only that, it also keeps the rear screen as clean as possible. However, when it gets that dirty, you've always got your little wash and wipe at the back there. I think the whole back is really nicely done, incorporated in with these LED rear tail lights. Excellent as well. And also, if you notice down here, this is very reminiscent of what used to be, perhaps in the old days, exhaust pipes with one either side. And I've got a feeling that the manufacturers are doing this to get us sort of ready for the future, where we won't see exhaust pipes anymore because we'll have all electric or hydrogen cars, and they don't require them, do they? Anyway, let's take a look inside. It's not electronically assisted. It's got a couple of decent struts here, gas struts that pull it up. Decent sized boot, not the biggest. It's 400 litres with the seats up in this state here. When the seats go down, we'll show you that in a minute, it goes up to 1400 litres, which isn't too bad at all. For an extra £70, UK pounds, you can get yourself a doggy mat. Look at that. So when your doggy is soaking wet and you want to throw him in the back or her in the back, you can just plop that in there like that, and said doggy can just jump straight in. And then when you've finished, you can pop it out again and give it a wipe down with a cloth. I think that's worth 70 quid if you've got a dog. I'll put it out the way for a minute because there's a couple of things I want to show you. One of the most important things on this car is under here. It's hiding away, lurking in there. It's a full-size spare wheel. I love that. Just the fact that you've got the option to have this. It is an extra £160, but it comes with a jack, it comes with a wrench, and if anything goes wrong with this car, you can jack it up and change the wheel. That is genius, because these stupid puncture repair kits, I don't even want to rant on about them. Throw them away. Get yourself run flats if you have to, or a space saver, or a full-size wheel like this one can come with. Anyway, there you go. Enough said. Parcel Shelves, another pet hate of mine. However, this one, not so bad. The only thing is, it is quite big, and when you take it out, let's say you're going to put a bike in there or a pram, you've got to be able to put this somewhere, because otherwise it's going to end up on the passenger's laps. And trust me, so fortunately with this car, you can lift this up like that, you can pop this in upside down, just sit that in there like that. And there you go, disappeared. Look at that, absolutely perfect. Put your doggy mat back in there. There we go, we'll put that in there as well. And you can see how nice that boot is. It's absolutely perfect. Now let's put the seats down. It's 60-40 split. You can do it from the back here. Another good thing, if you've got someone you want to slide in there, then your passenger can still sit over there, which is excellent. Pop that one down as well. Look at that. The only thing I have noticed, there's a couple, well, two things actually. First of all, it's quite a heavy, large load lip here. It's about that much. So that, and also this, you know, this plastic at the back, because of that load lip, you're going to be dragging stuff in and out. It's going to be catching over the top there. It's going to scratch this to pieces. So I think that is a little, that's a bad design side of it. Also with those seats, have you seen the lip there as well? It's quite high. So anything you push in there, and if you're on your own, you've got to put something large in there, it's going to keep knocking against that. You need someone to help you to lift it, to slide it over the seats, which in a way is a bit of a shame. However, it's not the end of the world. Shopping bag holder here, and on the other side as well, plenty of tie-off points. Unfortunately, on this particular model, there isn't a 12-volt adapter. I would really like a 12-volt adapter with this, because if you are a doggy person, it's nice to have bits and pieces that you can plug in at the back here. Just be nice to have. I'm sure you can get it on a different model. Got a couple of bins, one either side. This side has got like a little you know, it's just nice bits and pieces to have. And obviously, you've got a courtesy light over there. All in all, it's a decent boot on this car. But what it's like for the passengers is a whole different thing. The basic entry-level Skoda Kamiq comes with cruise control and lane keepy as well. Lane keepy is on all the time. If you want to turn it off, there's a little button here on the right-hand side of the steering wheel. You just push that and select what you want from the digital panel in the middle using the no button here on the right-hand side, which is really, really handy. Cruise control again is on the stalk here, very easy to set on and off at the top, and just set your speed by pushing the button. And it's just simple to deactivate by either hitting the brake or pressing cancel. A couple of things which I think would be nice to be included, but then you've got to jump up in the trim levels, would be the blind spot mirrors. This car doesn't have them. This is the SE that we're driving today. The blind spot mirrors are an extra £535. I'd really like to see that included, because I think that is an essential part of today's modern driving. If you want a reverse camera on this car, it's £305 extra. And if you want the sensors front and rear, the beepers as I call them, it's an extra £380. I think if you were going to buy the entry-level S car and add those few bits and pieces on, it's a very reasonable amount to pay for the car, because you would be still less than the next car up, which is the SE, which is this one. In the back for the passengers, the first thing you're going to notice is how easy I can get in and out of this car, because the rake on that door is so far back. It's going to allow older people or infirm people to get in and out easily, and also for you if you're loading a baby seat or a young child in here. Really like that. Another thing with these windows, I'll just pull this so you can see, not only they've got a slight tint to them so it keeps it cooler in the summer, but they go all the way down. There's a lot of cars these days, they stop halfway. It's really annoying, but these do go all the way down, trust me. In the back, well, straight away you'll notice how much legroom there is, how much headroom there is. I did notice straight away here, we haven't got LED lights. It's not the end of the world, but I think, you know, come on Skoda, please, that's penny pinching. You can stick a couple of LED bulbs in there. It'd make it much nicer and brighter in here for less energy, which we're all about these days. In the centre here, you get a little, it's not independent heating. It is, you can sort of manoeuvre it about a little bit, but you've still got to rely on the driver or the passenger to set how much heat and what sort of, you know, how much air is actually coming out. You can't do that yourself here. But you do get 2 USB-Cs down there, so it's going to keep young ones happy if they need to charge up their devices. A couple of other bits which I noticed in here are the Isofix points. Now, these are the poppy-outy ones. I much prefer the ones that are on springs or the ones that aren't there at all, because you will end up losing these and probably have to pay for another load when you come to sell the car or give it back after its lease. But there you go, it's not the end of the world. You've got recessed seat belts in here, which makes sliding across nice and easy. Another thing I've noticed as well is this material. I think this could be, it's quite nice looking, but it could be a bit of a hazard when you've got ice creams and sweets and things that kids are going to be dropping and, you know, slopping around in it. Not sure how well it will clean up. I don't want to test it because it's not my car. I'm not going to get an ice cream and blodge it on there for you. Quite a high transmission tunnel in the middle here. Let's have a go though. We're going to get our leg over, as they say. In the centre here, still loads of headroom, even though it's a little bit higher because it's obviously a little bit more dense on the fabric. But you could sit here for a lift home. I wouldn't say you want to be sat here for more than, you know, a long ride. Let's put it that way. You've got headrests in the back, and you've also got a centre armrest here with a double cup holder, which is really nice. I do like that when I'm in the back of a car. I like to have an armrest and somewhere to put a coffee cup or a drink, whatever you've got. I like that a lot. There's no ski hatch in this. I'm just double checking. But there again, you weren't expecting that, weren't you? But one thing you wouldn't be expecting is what I'm going to show you next. This is genius. I love little genius things like this. There's a hole here and it has a use. You put your seatbelt in it, and you're probably thinking, well, why do you do that? Because when you lower this down, it doesn't catch the seatbelt. Look at that. Seatbelt stays where it is. You know when it catches, when you put it back, it's like, oh, and then you've got to pull it back down again. You've got to hold it out with that arm, pull that one down. You don't have to do that with this. Look, simple, little hole, genius. Doesn't get much better, does it? Skoda Kamiq comes with a 3-year or 60,000 mile warranty, which isn't too bad, but to be honest, I think Skoda could do a little bit better, especially given the backup from the big VW group that it belongs to. And I'd like to see that extended to perhaps 5 years, and unlimited mileage would be really nice. Anyway, it is what it is. 3 years, 60,000 miles. You do get a 12-year anti-corrosion warranty, which just shows the trust that Skoda have in the materials that are used in making this car. I think that's very good indeed. After 3 years, if you're not on a plan, you know, a lease plan, and you're going to keep the car, you can extend that warranty to 5 years or 100,000 miles. Now, you need to speak to your Skoda salesperson about the offers that they have on that, because they vary according to the car and the mileage and things like that. So just have a chat with them. One thing I do know about is that Skoda do an all-in service plan. Now, the all-in service plan is a really clever idea. I really like this. I think more companies should have a look at this. So basically what it involves, you get an extra 2-year warranty. So that takes you up to the 5 years. You get 2 services, 2 main services. You get roadside assistance. You get 2 MOTs. Now, an MOT here in the UK is a government check, a legal requirement on all cars over 3 years old that has to be done every year just to provide documentary proof that your car is roadworthy. It's a good thing to have, but it can be a bit of a pain booking it in and doing everything. So it'd be quite nice to have that as part of your warranty, as part of your service agreement with Skoda, have the whole thing all in one. And that is exactly what it is, the all-in service plan. That will cost £32 per month. Now that I really like as well. You pay on a monthly basis. So all in, I think it's well worth having a chat with your salesperson when you go down to finally put pen to paper and purchase your car. Up front, this car comes with keyless ignition and keyless entry. However, you do have the key there when you need it in case all electric fails and you need to get into the car. It's an extra £480, but I think it's actually worth it. I quite like keyless ignition. The actual ignition itself has a stop-start button where the key used to be, quite appropriate. And if you're in the manual, just put your foot on the clutch and push that button. As long as you've got the key inside the car, it will start up. Likewise, with the automatic version of this car, just put your foot on the brake. Simple as. To the right over here, you have the lighting, well, it is a rather large knob. That's basically the only way I can describe it. Set that to auto and let it do its own thing. It's got the front and rear fog lights on there as well. You will have to put those on yourself whenever you require them. To the left of that is what we call the dip beam. So it's, well, I say dip beam, you can actually change the height of the front light. So it's not quite dip beam because that's on there. But yeah, you can change the lights. So if you're in town, you want them a little bit lower, not blinding everybody. You can rake them up a little bit when you go out into the country lanes. Quite a nice little touch that, mostly on older cars. Just below that is a little pocket where you can put your sort of, well, I suppose there'd be your shades in there really, or your reading glasses, whatever, or a very small phone, or your valuables. There you go, probably get your wallet in there as well. Quite like that as well. Nice little touches you're getting on here. It's not a fully digital instrument cluster. The centre section is, but the outside is analog. It's still nice. It's all sort of pieced together rather nicely. On the right hand side of the steering wheel here, you've got this basically is your adjustments on here. The top button is the lane keeping and the lane assist and the front assist and all that. And when you push that, you can then scroll up and down using the knurled knob. To the left, you can change in the centre there. You will scroll between all the different functions that you've got on this car as well. That's very easy to use. On the left hand side is your volume control and your media change down at the bottom there. And you've got your little Ask Skoda button at the top there. It's all very nice and neat. On the steering wheel itself, you've got plenty of adjustment, forwards, backwards, down and up. And you haven't got electronic seats on this, but again, very easy to adjust. Good old days with the, you know, the pump action here, and then you've got the little sort of button here that you can slide it backwards as well, and underneath the seat there. It's just all set up really nicely. Let's have a look in the centre here. We've got the world's smallest cubby. I have no idea what you'd keep in there. Probably put the keys in there. Probably be the best place for them, to be honest. You've got a 12-volt adapter here. Then you've got, well, it's a double energy drink holder, really. It's not really a coffee cup holder. But one thing it does have, which I think is really genius, it's got a couple of... on one of the cup holders, the idea is you put your water bottle in there. You know when you're driving along and you're trying to undo your water bottle, and in the end you have to take it out, put it between your legs, and it's all a bit of a flaff. With this, they've got little knobs in there, little buttons. It actually stops that moving around, so you can undo your water bottle. That's really cool. Manual handbrake, very easy and nice to use. Don't we love that? It sounds lovely. Good old days there, guys. You can turn your parking sensors on and off here. There's a button there for that. And you've also got the anti-stall button, or the stall button. Oh, not anti-stall, stall button. Again, you know, I'm into all the eco stuff, but that does get on my nerves sometimes when you're in a lot of traffic, start, and it keeps stopping and it has to start itself again. 6-speed manual gearbox in here. You get a couple, just in front of that, you've got a couple of USB-Cs. At the moment, we're having to sort of make do with these adapters because most of us have still got the old USB size, but eventually we're all going to be USB-C, so you won't need to carry these around. But for the moment, you get one of these when you buy one of these cars. I'd like to see up the front here, and I'm sure in the top models they probably do it, is a wireless Apple charger, which would be really nice. I'd like to be able to stick my phone in there and put it on charge. You do get Apple Play in this car, and you get Android mirroring as well, but with the Android mirroring you have to plug it in, whereas the Apple Play you can actually do wireless in this car. You've got Bluetooth as well, connectivity, so you're pretty much covered. It's quite, you know, it's got all the bits and pieces you need on it. With this car you get the basic Aircon, so you've got Aircon, but it's not the climate control system that in some of the higher models that you can get. But I think it's really nice. You've got very easy buttons to use here. It's on, it's off, it's, you know, turn it up, turn it down. Can't get much easier than that, guys. You're jumping in this car, you've got a pair of gloves on in the middle of the winter. This is easy. You know, it's cold, turn it up hot, turn it on full, and then blast it down on your feet, or, you know, blast it out the vents there. Nice and easy. You don't have to flaff around up here. This is gesture control as well, so you can actually change, as you saw there, just by sliding your hand across. It will go backwards and forwards. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Depends how it feels. You do get, with the basic car, you don't get the sat nav. However, on the next cars up, you start getting the sat nav systems, you start getting extra bits and pieces on your media and things like that. But you do get a DAB radio, which is essential nowadays. I don't think necessarily the nav is essential, because if you've got your phone and you've got Apple Play, you might as well run it on, you know, on your maps from your phone anyway. So, and if it's being charged up, got nothing to lose. I think the finish on this car is very nice indeed. I love all this sort of, it's very smooth, very touchy-feely, this car. Decent sized glove box. However, I think instead of paying £160 for our spare wheel, maybe if we didn't have this owner's manual, that, you know, look how many pages of things that I'm never going to look at, because if I want to know something about this car, I'm going to go on the internet or go on YouTube. That's just the way it is these days. Don't need these books anymore. And you wouldn't have the space taken up with them either. And I think you probably get, you know, even if the the wheel in the back, that spare wheel, was half the price. You'd be saving some money and saving some space. So there you go. We shut that away in there. All in all, I think this is a really nice place to be up front here. I'm loving this car. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making it, because it's always great fun doing a bit of filming for The Player. Now, speaking of The Player, it's a much bigger organisation. We're not just a YouTube channel. I know it'd be nice to think that's all we did, but we don't. We're part of a men's bookazine. Yes, it's a big sort of hardback book that comes out every 3 months. It's got 228 pages of everything us guys love. There's cars, there's boats, jet skis, motorcycles, holidays, golf, food, interviews, you name it, they cover it. It's fantastic. And if you think I'm waffling, wait a sec, because you can have it for free. Yes, well, you can't have the physical book because that's 100 UK pounds every issue. But what you can have, because you watch me, AJ, on the Player YouTube channel, you can have the online version for nothing. And all you've got to do is go over to the website, www.theplayer.co.uk. It's coming up here now. There you go. It'll stay up there for a few minutes so you can memorise it. Go over there and just go to the subscription tab at the top. Subscribe. There's no data capture. All it is your name and an email, so you can download the book or you can view it online. You know, those bods that do that internet stuffy, they've managed to get it so you can turn the pages and read it online, but most people just download it to their laptop or whatever and just have a little breeze through it. You know, it's really good and it's completely free of charge for you guys. So anyway, there you go. Before you go, don't forget, like, subscribe and comment. And one thing, if you could do that, one big favour for me is give me a thumbs up. And the reason is because I don't get paid any extra. I don't get a bonus or anything. No, no, no. What I do get is a pat on the back from the bosses and the sponsors to say, job well done. Because when you give us a thumbs up, it means you enjoyed the video. And that means I've done a good job. So I get a pat on the back, which is, you know, keeps me in a job, guys. Thank you. Comments down below, as always. If you need to know something about this particular car, or any car that we featured, or just got a general comment about, you know, whatever you want to know, then please drop it in the comments box and one of the team will get back to you in due course. Subscribe, guys, if you want to subscribe, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Leave the bell sign unchecked because we're doing 1, maybe 2 videos a week at the moment. And yeah, it'd be nice to give you a bit of notification that we've just put a new video up. You might want to watch it, you might not, but it's worth having that bell sign unchecked. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next week with something different. I look forward to it. In the meantime, take care.